So this is going to be a collaborative campaign builder kind of campaign. So we've got our players over here. I have developed none of the world. There is no campaign pitch other than in DMs on Discord. Everybody kind of wants to play Dragonborn except for the one kobold simp. So it's a funny concept, but the basic idea is anybody who wants to DM can do this. Anybody like me that is low on time sometimes, where like full time job, two young kids, a 300 square feet of garden I'm trying to do our vegetables for the year in. Um, I don't necessarily have like 8 hours a week to plug into campaign prep, but I do have players who are also capable of being creative and giving me stuff to work with. So this could be useful for new DMs, experienced DMs that are running out of time, anybody that wants to get a little more player buy-in. Pretty much good for everybody. And the basic concept is everybody's going to have their point of origin. If I can remember how this pen works, there we go. Point of origin, which can be their hometown, and they'll just give it a name, and then they'll kind of come up with the surrounding topography. Be like, all right, I got these mountain range off to the west. There's an ocean up north, and there's like a Death Star that like fell into a lake off to the east. And then there's like I don't know. There's what's this turning into? This pen is glitching out on me. It's a dead god baby to the south, and
Ah,
that is the surrounding topography for their hometown of Wuddlefuck. That's over there, not with no particular rhyme or reason to anything happening. So once we have one of these from everybody, we can literally select, move around, resize, make them fit together to make a coherent map of the actual campaign setting. Now, I hope people choose features that are slightly more coherent than Crash, Death Star, and Dead God Baby, but you never know. So, I don't think the Crash, Death Star, Dead God Baby is the vibe we're going for with this one. We're kind of going for a standard D&D campaign thing, but we'll see how it goes. So, whoever would like to start, if you have like a clear like name and hometown, that would be cool.
hmm.
Hmm. We have our character names down with everybody. Um,
You haven't added mine yet.
I have not. I have not seen Vix's yet, but that's fine. So, Vix, do you have a hometown or something for the character?
I've not thought of a name, but I did sketch it on paper.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so name to be determined, hometown, and then like what's to the south. I can't tell if Vix is thinking or has it
Oh
glitched
wait,
out.
you were asking me. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I thought that was just a broad question for everyone. I'm
No,
sorry.
no, no. For you particularly, what would be the south of the hometown?
Mostly just like sort of like plain land.
Plain, like hills or hills and plains kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so like regular old hills and plains, grasslands, basically. Fuzzy grasslands, and then what's gonna be like to the west?
The ocean.
Ocean. Okay, so we'll have sort of a coastline and ocean, and to the north.
Um, a little bit of trees, but still mostly plain land.
Okay, so scattered trees, sparse trees kind of land. And what about to the east?
Sort of like mountainy hills.
Mountains and hills. Cool. Generally hills with some mountains going on. All right. So we've got our first mini map. Kind of. Oh. There we go. So we got kind of a mini map going on. We can kind of tie that into other people's here in a sec. Chris. Chris, are you muted again? Got the curses out before coming off the mute.
Oh, it's like that. Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
I want to live on the coast, so maybe like north of.
North of the so north of the ocean kind of thing. Cool.
Yes.
So it's like a harbor town directly on the coastline, with ocean to the south. Makes sense. And then what would be kind of to the west of the coast?
I wanted to live near like the basin of a main river.
Oh, okay. So we got like a river coming in from the west kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay. River kind of comes into that general area. Cool. What about to the north?
Mountain range.
Mountain range?
Or not?
Sure. I don't know why I went for the like ampersand mountain, but you know what happens.
That's a fucked up mountain. We are known for it.
Well, you know what? It's canon. It comes to a point, and then there's rock on top. That's just how it is. It's part of the story now.
Wonderful.
This one's a little bit see-through.
It's our land.
Well, and then to the east.
Sorry.
No worries.
Like. Can it just be like a main road?
Just like a road going through grasslands kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes sense. Topography.
And we'll just say this will be our grasslands. The wrong pipe grasslands.
The wrong type. What?
The wrong pipe grasslands. It's the thing you make up when you are choking on a drink. All right, cool. We got this, and obviously you mentioned already that this would make sense, like topographically, if it was like, oh, I gotta make that transparent. Oh, but on the flip side, Windows made me update, and I have no idea where anything is. There we go.
Ruh-roh.
Right. So it makes sense kind of over here-ish, where like those oceans kind of come together feature-wise. I mean, they obviously don't have to be right next to each other. You can put it however far up you want. But that's kind of the whole point of the system, is you end up putting things together to make sense topographically, so that people are kind of from the same area and would realistically, run into each other. Ace!
Howdy.
I'm been fighting the urge to make Ventura Pet Detective jokes this whole time. Because I know I wouldn't be the first.
Not the first, not the last.
Not the first, not the last. We got a hometown?
Yes, we do. The town would be called Greywall.
Greywall.
Nice.
That
The
is
mayor's not a very creative fella.
No. By the way, my favorite kind of names. The one campaign I ended up like kind of dropping out of was the only one I kind of left. Well, no, there were multiple. The only one I left for non toxic problematic reasons was just basically like the DM constantly naming everything laugh at who the fruler, and I'm like, I don't know what was that. It's like, man, I know you visited like Iceland last summer, but please return to naming conventions. I can understand. So I have nothing but respect for names like West Rin, and I'm like, that's West of Rin if I've ever heard of anything. So yeah, Greywall.
Greywall.
Let's say to the north.
To the north, we have a lovely open forest.
Nice.
Nothing too crazy.
Forest is denoted by large vertical lines,
I see.
followed by diagonal lines to denote trees.
I mean, it
I
looks
thought,
like trees.
I
I thought they
mean,
were umbrellas.
they very well could be.
Yes, my town is surrounded by umbrellas.
What are trees if not nature's umbrellas? Um, it's going to come off as very deep and thought out to someone somewhere, I'm sure. But yes, forest to the north.
To the south, they have a lake that they enjoy doing fishing in.
Nice. So nearby lake.
I see the silhouette of the troll face.
A silhouette of troll face? What?
God, that's exactly what it looks like.
Is it? Oh
Kinda
no!
does.
I'm not deep enough into Reddit to understand these references. I
It's troll late.
I was legitimately, someone kept saying Chad, and I was like, who is this guy?
Who is this mysterious man?
How about the westerly ness and directions?
In the west, there is a very high cliff that leads off into an open plains.
Ooh, so sort of a double feature. It sort of comes up to just a cliff face that leads out into plains area.
Yes.
Nice. And to the east.
To the east would be farmland, along with the city's natural-made cave, where they go to scour for most of their resources.
Oh, okay, okay. So farmlands and cave stuff. So. What? It is that time of night when people come through my house making noises during recordings.
Oh no.
Sorry.
They then apologize and trip
Guest
on
star
it.
appearance.
Very specific event for that time of day.
I'm speaking entirely generally. Nothing to see here. What? All right. I'm losing some definition on these resizes, but that's okay. It'll come out in the chat. Finally, Laura, hometown.
Okay. The hometown is named Saint Olaf.
Saint Olaf.
Saint Olaf. Yep.
Fair enough. Oh man,
And
I had no chance of spelling that right. I was a math teacher.
as an English teacher, I will forgive you.
Huzzah!
Okay, so to the north, it is surrounded by forest.
Cool. Gotcha.
And the beautiful patio umbrellas that they represent.
Yes.
And to the east, there is a river that cuts through.
Cuts through. All right.
Yep.
River cuts through the city, going west or heading south.
Going west.
Going west. Nice.
And to the south, mountains.
Mountains to the south.
Yep.
Gonna avoid any magical floating tops on these ones. Here we go.
I mean, it has to be unique to that one specific location.
True. Yes.
One of the world wonders.
Exactly. All right. So we've obviously got a first thing that would make sense would be sticking these ones over here-ish. So we can kind of complete the coastline. And then since there was light forest up here, we know that that can then just lead into these grasslands. So it's sort of like a forest in between. Because I think we had grasslands down here on this one as well. Whoop. So we got lots of grasslands there. The cliff leading into plains and the mountains. I think it would make sense if we took these mountains for St. Olaf and just made them these mountains. And this river going off to the west would kind of go off map essentially at that point. And then Grey Wall. I mean, these rivers got to come from somewhere, so let's take Grey Wall's lake and have it be kind of the water source that ends up going past St. Olaf. And St. Olaf is north of the mountain ranges, which is north of the coastal city that, Chris, I don't think we have a name for yet. And there we go. This has obviously been resized and sketched hastily by someone who never once went to art school in any way, shape, or form. But now we have a basic campaign map. And instead of me having tried to have made this out of my brain and then tried to, who knows how much success, probably not much, to make everybody care about it intrinsically, there's none of that. There's none of that stuff to, try to create artificial buy-in. This is everybody built this map together. We even made a weird thing that I actually probably legitimately will work into the story, where one of these mountains in this thing is floating over the tip of one of the mountains. It's probably not going to be a large oblong rock like that exactly, but there will be a rock floating up there, and it'll be a feature that everybody kind of knows and possibly wants to explore or exploit or do something with. So we're going to get into the narrative aspects. So we're going to need two NPCs from everybody. We're going to need a friend and a foe. Now, we don't need names necessarily on the friend and foe. That says fiend. You have to excuse me. I was late getting out today, and after a lecture of don't accumulate any overtime, I'm like, there's things that are falling apart. But I made it home, and then I tried to recaffeinate to mild success. So your friend would just be like a cool baker that always gave you food if you were like an urchin or something. A foe could just be a swindling bard that screwed over my friend, and then skipped town or whatever. Somebody that they just have an antagonistic relationship, and somebody they have a friendly relationship with. So, and one person's friend could be another person's foe, and so on and so forth. We went left to right last time. Let's go right to left this time. Laura, you're on the spot again. It's time to put in your piece of the writing.
The friend
Mm-hmm.
is an old fighter friend who she does have a name. Her name is Dorothy. So Dorothy and Nyla go back really, really far, and they don't see each other as much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But Dorothy is just very much a very stalwart person and very, very quick-tempered, but always good to like have around.
Sort of like the retired fighter who like stays in that town, but is like good to back you up if something local is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the foe is there's this artificer in town who just kind of sucks. But the short version of my character concept is pure of heart but dumb of ass. And just always like pretty sure that the artificer is like low key making fun of her, but not 100%, and also too nice to like say anything about it. Fucking hates this bitch.
So this artificer is just sort of a fartificer, generally speaking.
Yes, that is the exact and only term I will ever be using for this from now on.
Nice. Artificer. Fartificer. Would we go so far as to say one of the reasons that they are antagonistic is that you pointed out they farted sometime, and as the intellectual, they took exception.
That wasn't a thing before, but it is now, and it will be for all eternity. It's canon.
Officially, the canon is you coined the term fartificer, and now around town they are known as the fartificer, and they have to deal with that reality, which obviously they were probably already a jerk, but now they're just particularly to you. Yeah, you have an Now notice this is not like the necromancer that murdered my family and is now using their bones to fight my friends. It's a fartificer. It doesn't need to be overly dramatic. It's
My
a
favorite
fartificer.
subclass.
Is fartificer a subclass?
Now.
I think it's just
Make it happen.
it just sounds like the ribbon or the capstone ability for alchemist. That's what it is. Nobody knows otherwise, so nobody's gonna call me on it. I keep writing fiend. Your fiend, your friend.
It's fry end.
I wish I could remember that ever. Probably my most embarrassing thing ever was my first email to anyone at my first school. I misspelled principal. And the front desk people had to respond like, remember, the principal is your pal. And I'm like, thank you so much, and I'm going to go die privately now.
And I'm quitting.
Ace, give me a friend and a foe.
All right, so for the close pal of our buddy Twang here is his brother, who has an equally creative name, Clang.
Clang. So the kobold Clang?
Yes.
Kobold. Oop, I don't know why I made an H. That doesn't make any sense. Oh. What does Clang do?
Clang is basically the older, annoying, but loving brother of our dear friend. He is pretty much the loudmouth. Twang is a lot more secluded, not outright senseless, I'd say, but Clang is definitely more uppity, more extroverted, and he pretty much bothers our buddy Twang as much as he can.
Gotcha. What would people in town, like, go to him for if they had, like, a friendly relationship to him?
If they got along with him, they would go to him for scouting purposes. Cool. He is very nosy, and he wants to know everything there is to know.
So sort of a loud scout, which is always kind of interesting. A boisterous, yes. Like, hey, look at me kind of person, but who will, go out and check things out. And then a foe.
For the foe, that would be Paladin Liam.
Paladin Liam.
Yes.
I gotta tell you, as someone who has a Liam screaming in the other room, tell me more.
All right, so back in the history of Greywall, there was previously a curfew mandated due to goblin issues.
Mm.
Twang and Clang, being the blissfully ignorant to they are,
Mm-hmm.
decided that they did not like the curfew. And Paladin Liam had to go deal with them. He got a little too aggressive, and he lost one of his eyes in a fight with them.
Ah.
They don't like each other.
So he's got one eye, and he's kind of an enforcer.
Yes. He is very strict. He is very by the book.
Weep. I use this drawing pad approximately once a year, so that will be my excuse for my proficiency with it. But all right, we got kind of a picture going on of those characters. And Chris.
See. For a friend. Definitely like a partner in crime
Mm-hmm.
situation. Named.
We don't need actual names, actually. It actually works better if we don't have names, because we can
Great.
tie things together a little easier, but names also work. But yeah, so just like a fellow thief person?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. When I pull all the heist stuff with
So, like, in what capacity would they be known to, like, other people in town? In, like, a positive light, at least.
in a positive light.
They might not know about the thievery, but they would...
Maybe like I don't like a musician.
Sure.
Like a town busker.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they could be the town busker, yeah.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've ever had to write the word busker. And so I did my best. And then a foe?
Or just like a lawful kind of not necessarily like a law person,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe someone who doesn't like I screwed them over once. Like I stole something from them, and
Yeah.
this is just a person from I don't know.
Is it just like a regular guy?
It
Just...
could be a guy just who does not approve of lying and stealing.
Okay.
So maybe a town official or something.
Oh, okay. Or like a religious leader or something, or so like the town church leader. So like a town preacher.
Yeah.
In the name of the Everlight, stop taking people's things. Town preachers. I was gonna say / judge, but if you want to make the town's judge also the town's preacher, that's never gone wrong in society. So
Once.
not one example I can think of.
He doesn't like me, but I'm like a huge fan of him.
Oh,
Honestly.
okay.
I like his vibe.
You like his vibe. You're great. You're great. These are all yours, and I'm taking them. But you're great.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. Okay. Yeah, we can definitely work with that. My sweet's gonna. Yeah, that works. Okay. Actually, gonna just delete the thief note because the main thing people would know about them is that they're the busker.
Busker.
Whoop. Okay. So, Vix,
Yes.
what do we got for a friend?
Her friend, she sees like a fatherly figure, and he sees her like a daughter, but neither of them say anything about it. But he's pretty much like the chieftain slash leader of their pirate clan.
Nice. So the sort of the father slash chief of the of like the pirate clan, you were saying?
Yeah.
Cool. I can hear the bedtimes being enforced in the other room. And then a foe who would be running opposition.
It's a tiefling that she may or may not have crashed his ship while drunk.
Tiefling, former ship captain. It probably runs freelance at this point, without having their own vessel. Nice. Okay, cool. So then, only thing left for us to do is kind of just build our starting plot out of these characters that we've created. So, if you see any cool tie-ins, then let me know. I think it might be cool. I actually forget whose was whose on some of these, but so Ace, Twang's Paladin Enforcer, could be traveling and has locked up the town busker friend of Aofi. I'm gonna have to learn how to pronounce that, aren't I?
Aoife.
Aoife.
You're good.
Wow, I was way off.
Oh, yes. Yeah. There's gonna be.
Yeah.
Forever.
Aoife? What was it?
Aoife.
Aoife. Okay. When I have my paper out next, I will write that
We'll
down
write it down.
in a way that I will remember it. I will ask you approximately 3 more times before I get it. Let's see. So we've got our friendly old fighter from Laura, who I think I feel like an old like fighter former adventurer would be familiar with like a semi-obnoxious loud kobold scout that's in a nearby town. I feel like they would have crossed paths at some point and like either been, I think would have been friends. Like, come to think of it, I think they would have shared a drink or at least.
I can see that.
I could see that. Yeah. So we'll kind of tie those two together. Man, I want to tie Fartificer into this somehow.
Oh yeah.
That's just my personal desire.
Did
I
Aoife have stolen from the Fartificer?
I think that would make sense. Or that could be like an upcoming thing that needs to happen. Is Aoife would be. I'm still gonna screw it up like 8 more times. Aoife needs to. Ooh, a reason why. This tiefling former ship captain is there are rumors that they are working with a Fartificer in another town. They're developing something nefarious. There's some sort of link between them. What my mind goes to is airship. So a former captain whose ship has been crashed, due to shenanigans of ne'er-do-wells, is now looking for another kind of ship and is possibly exploiting resources from that floating chunk of stone above a mountain to develop an airship and go with that. So I think we have our first big plot point, actually.
Heck yeah.
Airship. Fart ship.
Is that what they named it, or what it's being called?
I'm just assuming that's what the joke about it is going to be at some point, because the fartificer is developing an airship. It's going to be a fart ship.
The second Nyla finds out about it, it's gonna be called a fart ship.
It's gonna be the fart ship.
Perpetuity.
Yeah. There's going to be I'm going to have to practice my angry artificer voice, because there's going to be a very upset artificer. It's ready to be like, it's not a fart ship! It's not a fart ship! It runs on magic! You're like, magic farts?
I'm just imagining the tiefling hears this, and then he starts doing it.
Right? Very possible. Okay, the ones we haven't tied in are the town preacher, and the pirate clan father figure chief. I don't know they would have much to do with each other. Actually, this was Chris. These were yours, and your city was on the coastline. So actually, they could have something to do with each other.
Maybe they have like a sort of deal with each other. They like keep peace with each other.
Yeah, could be. Because the town preacher has like some kind of deal. Ooh, or could it be a former crew member? That went very preachery kind of thing. That could be interesting. It could be both of those. Yeah. So former pirate turned preacher who has a protection deal for the town. Yeah, that's a fair link. But I think we've stumbled into our first plot point. So, to be named tiefling former ship captain is... or do we have a name for the tiefling former ship captain?
Not 100% sure what would be a good name.
Not a problem. We'll figure something out. We will call that Point A. That looks like a mountain. So, our tiefling former ship captain is working with Artificer Fartificer. So those two are heading towards the floating mountain peak. Chris, did you have a name for your town yet that you wanted to commit to?
I feel like if that actual mountain point is going to be a real landmark, I want it to be named for that.
Right.
thing.
I was about to name the mountain peak part just the spire of whatever the town was going to be.
Oh, great.
Fire of Spire.
Yeah.
Fire of Spire.
They are a coastal,
Yeah.
trade port, it looks like.
Port Townsend.
Port Townsend.
A place that doesn't exist, obviously.
Right. My thought went to Portcullis for some reason.
That sounds like,
Yeah, the English major just nodded with excitement because that's not a word that people get to use very often.
Sounds like a food.
It is like a gateway that goes vertically up and down to open and close, I think. I use it probably incorrectly for the door into the workshop at my work. But
How the door opens, that works.
yeah. But yeah, portcullis could be good. Because it's portcullis basically. And it is sort of an opening into the region as far as being a port town. Huh?
The spire and portcullis doesn't necessarily strike anything in me, though.
Yeah, that's fair.
Feck.
Peak of portcullis. But that
I
sounds
like the
like
way that rolls off the
porticulous.
tongue.
Huh?
I said I like the way that rolled off the tongue.
Porticulous.
Let's see if I can.
They have very strange greeting customs.
Dangerously close to some VeggieTales stuff.
No.
Look, there was an island of perpetual tickling, okay?
Oh no. Oh, that's got to be a metaphor. There's some repressed issues going on in an island of perpetual tickles.
Would the
like
common
cool.
wildlife be water buffaloes?
Yeah, like could there be like it could
Oh my.
some kind of wildlife in
Mhm.
the water that I can name?
We'll figure out a name that that strikes fancies in that thing. But A and B are heading to. I'm gonna say I'm just gonna try to fit a C in here. There we go. Whoop, whoop, whoop. A and B are going to C. To steal. Whoop, there's an A in steal. To steal resources. Whoop. For building an airship. Obvious reasons people don't want that to happen are an antagonistic, tiefling pirate captain and a real jerk of the fartificer getting together is already like two of the worst people most of you know. And they are yeah, they're gonna join forces to be able to have like air superiority in this region. That's just gonna snowball into a bunch of problems. So the only other thing to kind of choose
God, they're gonna get the high ground.
They are gonna have the high ground. They can't lose when you get the high ground. We learned that from the parable of an Achan. So mispronouncing pop culture names is part of my identity. So we just need a starting point of wherever people think is a good place the group would have gotten together. We already know how people know each other. Laura and Ace, you two have mutual friends who have linked up through, some jobs and adventures. And Dorothy very easily could have turned to Nyla and said, go. I hear Clang has a younger brother who could link up for some adventuring.
Does he have
There's Aphie? Afa. I'm gonna get farther away before I get it. Afa, your friend got arrested by this, jerk paladin who has probably dragged your friend out of that city and
he planted drugs on my friend.
Yeah, the joik. No, he'd be like visiting basically. So I think this puts people in Chris in your like unnamed coast town that we're gonna figure out at some point. And I could see Vix. I could see your character is kind of the one basically bringing the concern to the group, bringing the quest essentially to them here at the port town, for lack of a better name at the point. So Vix's character bringing the mission in, and everybody rallying and being like talking to Nyla about, and we'll probably roleplay all this out at some point, but coming to Nyla saying, you know about this artificer that's linking up with them, and Nyla has some information. Maybe you saw
artificer. Yes, I do.
on the fartificer. He sucks. ironically, sucks instead of blows. The Fartificer, that is. I'm going to say Nyla was able to spot his office and saw plans of creating the flying ship by, like, by essentially destroying the mountain peak over there. Like, you'd have to destroy it to get the minerals he needs to make this airship, and is going to do it, and is going to basically destroy this, natural beauty and resource for the whole countryside. So everybody's kind of on board with, like, no, we gotta get this guy. And then Vix having the in on the tiefling, who probably has a crew that are kind of the crew that's going to help this Fartificer accomplish his dastardly schemes. And there we go. I wasn't watching the time. 45 minutes. We have a campaign created. So not that bad. We have a map that we will probably add. We'll probably expand and add some detail to. That is not a coastland. That is just or not a coastline. That is just a border to the concept. Mm-hmm. But we have a story that is relatively coherent, despite it being just kind of fumbled together from talking it out. With some characters we can kind of draw on for story stuff. Some locations, which we'll want to insert some names, obviously, so we can say where we're going. But yeah, we got a thing we can fill out that is a unique campaign world to us that is now ready to go to play in. So yeah, I'm going to end the recording and hope that other people give this a try to A, take some stress off your DM, B, which is probably more important than A, create some player buy-in so that things are off the bat, ready to go. Everybody kind of has a stake in the game, essentially. And then just ready to go. I think I would like to see this used more often. I think a lot of our favorite parts of a lot of our favorite, like, D&D streams are actually kind of related to this. Like, the whole Briarwood arc of Critical Role is built out of, Percy, which is entirely a player's backstory. Actually, the same thing for, like, there's, like, the Chroma Conclave arc is built out of Vex and Vax's backstory. A lot of the best, like, arcs of things just come out of a player had an idea the DM was then able to build off of, but instead of that being sequestered in your writing room away from everybody, you can just do it with the people you know at session 0 and hash it out and build it. Obviously, you all don't know exactly what's going to happen once I, get behind the scenes and start building encounters and stuff, but you got a pretty cool idea, and we could expand on this and say, if we had, like, infinite time, we could say, what are some of the monsters that are in that forest? What are some of the artifacts that are rumored to be at the top of that mountain? And you can, like, dole out decisions like that to your players to get even more information for you to use. So I did not stream this. I recorded it, and I'll be putting it on YouTube later. And I'm terrible at editing, so it'll be basically this. I am stalling because I, for some reason, cannot find my mouse on my screen to then click the stop recording button, which is an important feature when you're trying to do stuff. Come on, mouse, you're new. You're supposed to work.
Just unplug the computer.
I guess.
I mean, that would stop the recording.
But yeah, but it's not the best way. Oh wait, I had it off.
Can't guarantee it'll save it though.
There we go. It's important to turn the switch all the way to one side, which is off, and all the way back to the other way, which is on, and then back, and, like, mess it up in the middle there. A very on message here. All right, so we'll see you around, and we will have a dragon punned group name to put the campaign in, which will be fun. So, but signing off until then. Dragons out. Fartificer. We'll exit on Fartificer.